Hi, guys, and welcome to the first issue of Andy versus the Box. Today, we're pulling the first book from the box of random comic books I got from some dude. Superman and the New Doom Patrol. This is DC Comics Presents number 52. That's from 1982 and introduces a couple of new characters. We've got, obviously, the New Doom Patrol and another debut that we'll find out later on. Now, who the hell are the Doom Patrol? Well, the short version is they're the X-Men before the X-Men. You have these sort of offbeat superheroes with weird powers, and everyone's kind of afraid of them because they look funny. In fact, I want to say they came out before the X-Men, and there's a few people who would actually claim that Stan Lee and company actually kind of stole that formula for the original lineup of the X-Men. They actually used the same tagline, the world's strangest superheroes and all that. So the Doom Patrol were never big sellers. They were always kind of a D-list team, so they got killed off, and this is them trying to bring them back. This is obviously before their reinvention in the 90s, where they became this sort of postmodern, counterculture, weird book by Grant Morrison, and like everything Grant Morrison does when he goes full Morrison, you either love it or hate it. There's not really a in-between with him. Like, I've never seen anybody read The Invisibles or Flex Mentallo or The Filth and go, oh, that was pretty good. And I'll give it a B, maybe a C plus, I don't know. You either think that he's a unbelievable genius who's decades ahead of his time, or you think he was a pretentious idiot who did too many drugs. But anyway, back to this random comic where they run into Superman. So right off the bat, we're just getting right into it. There's a power plant about to blow up, and Superman's already on the scene. Not wasting any time, just getting right into the story, right into the action. And I love this panel right here. Superman saving this guy from an explosion. Hold tight, sir. I'll have you out of here in no time. Could you please try a little faster than that? What an asshole. Like, you're in the middle of almost dying, and literally the best person in the universe at saving people is saving you. And you're like, hey, could you speed it up there, buddy? I ain't got all day. Like, come on. Anyway, Superman then eats the explosion, or he, I guess inhales it. Because, sure, why not? And then this, Shadow Lady bursts out of it. We later find out this is the new Negative Woman, who is a Russian fighter pilot who just happened to crash her plane in the exact spot where the original Doom Patrol was murdered, and got Negative Man's powers. That's kind of a thing. I don't know if there's a storyline reason for why she ended up in that exact spot, or if it was just an insane coincidence. But anyway, she can't control her powers, and she's kind of gone on a rampage. We cut to Galaxy broadcast. This is back in the 80s when they tried to get Superman away from being a newspaper reporter and instead made him a TV anchor. They're covering the Thanksgiving Day parade, and there's a district attorney who gets murdered, just straight up killed on live TV. And oh my god, that's Ambush Bug. Well, who the hell's Ambush Bug? Well, kind of like how the Doom Patrol were the X-Men before the X-Men, Ambush Bug is basically Deadpool before Deadpool. He's this wacky, random character who's more of an instigator than anything else, and has kind of a cool power set. He's got these little microscopic robot bugs that he can teleport between. He kind of uses them like jump points, I guess. Anyway, Superman goes out to try and fight Ambush Bug, runs into Negative Woman again. There's some destruction, and Superman gets taken out in one go. Just to point this out, this is pre-Crisis Superman. This is the guy who once beat up a sentient universe. This is the guy who sneezed and took out a solar system. If you ever wanted proof positive that the whole power level, power scaling, who's universed here and who's multiversed here and all that. If you ever wanted proof that that is a complete waste of time, may I present to you pre-crisis Superman getting one-shot by some random D-list character who nobody remembers. Anyway, the other two members of the Doom Patrol show up. This is Celsius, who has fire and ice powers, and Tempest, who has kind of very poorly defined blasty powers. I don't know. But those are our new members. We've got some ads here. I'm going to skip a couple of pages. Anyway, the Doom Patrol has a quick scuffle with Superman and loses because they're fighting Superman. Ambush Bug shows up and tries to instigate more tomfoolery with them. And they capture him, but then he teleports away. Superman finds out about his teleport bugs and then flies around the city real quick and smashes them all. And where's the picture? Here it is. Robot Man, whose power is a robot, just cold cocks Ambush Bug, and that is a really detailed mouth. Also, it kind of annoys me that they cross the axis of action. If you've ever studied anything from film school and all, like Robot Man should be on the left side of these first two frames, so it makes sense that he's on the right side here. But then he's back to the left side. Whatever. It's still a decent-looking panel. Anyway, they then try and capture Negative Woman, who's still tearing up the town, and Superman just flies in, and he just so happens to have a perfectly sized lead container to capture her in, and he says that he had it in the Fortress of Solitude to keep chunks of kryptonite, although that does beg the question, how did you open that up without exposing yourself to kryptonite? Whatever. Anyway, the bad guys get put away. Jimmy Olsen keeps getting buried by parade balloons. It's kind of a running gag through the issue. And we see, I thought this was Lex Luthor, but apparently that's what Ambush Bug looks like under his costume. And finally, we get Negative Woman being sad about the fact that she has to dress like a mummy to keep the negative creature from coming out. Anyway, this was honestly a pretty fun story. It's very sloppy, like they rush through a lot of things, but generally speaking, I liked it. And while I was reading it, I couldn't help but think, what would this be like as a modern book? Chances are it would be about 4 or 5 issues long. The first issue would be the whole power plant thing that they got through in like 2 pages here. And then Negative Woman breaking out. And then they tease, there's a new Doom Patrol in town. Second issue would be Ambush Bug killing the DA and instigating the fight between Superman and the Doom Patrol. Third issue would be them having a fight and then realizing, oh, wait, we're actually on the same side. And then the fourth issue would be them going after Ambush Bug and then going, I guess you guys aren't so bad. I'll see you around. And it would have been a perfectly serviceable story, but I kind of like the way they do it better here. And I think one of the big reasons that is value. Just to explain what I'm talking about, here's a recent issue of Amazing Spider-Man. And honestly, it's pretty good. You see, like, Ryan Ottley from Invincible is doing the art, and I really like his style. It's Nick Spencer doing the writing, and I really don't like Nick Spencer, or at least I don't like the persona he puts out on Twitter. But I gotta admit, he writes a damn good Spider-Man. Thing is, this is part 5 of a story. And it doesn't say how many parts it is. This book is $3.99. So just to get caught up, I would have had to have spent $20 and waited about 5 months just to get to this part of the story. Not even the full story. That's 2 trips to the movies and almost half a year for not even the full story. This one gives you the full story, beginning, middle, and end, all the way through in one sitting for 60 cents. You want to know why comic books are dying? It's because they can't give you anything without taking forever to do it and bleeding your wallet dry. I mean, people talk about, oh, variant covers are a problem and event fatigue is a problem and all these, tie-ins are a problem. The biggest problem is right here. You used to be able to go into a comic shop with $5 and come out with an armful of comics. Nowadays, you go to a comic shop with $5 and get one. Maybe, because sometimes some of them cost $4.99 and you have to pay sales tax. But yeah, that's Superman and the New Doom Patrol. It's not a great story, but for 60 cents and 10 minutes, it's a pretty fun way to kill some time. Anyway, that's the first issue of Andy versus the Box. Next time we'll pick the next issue, which is, oh no. Oh no. Well, I'll see y'all next time. To be continued.